Hello there, welcome back to Godless Tactics Abridged. In the previous part, we spent most of the episode doing a gimmick assault on Medan Refuge, where we lost a few characters due to the nature of that gimmick. But we prevailed in the end, and the nature of the powerful location we took quickly allowed us to take over the local area and secure ourselves as a faction on the map and make sure we can't lose. Then I just need to go on a journey around the map, taking all of the victory regions. We're really high level, so doing this is quite easy. Really just a matter of going there. There's me taking the entrance to the sea wall that leads to Lumida, and while we're traveling, I can just keep looking back to the stuff we left behind and throwing cash at it to make sure it's secure. I think it is secure at this stage, but might as well be paranoid, something to spend the money on, and it's nice to watch your colour spread across the map as you inject money onto the front lines as well. Here's another development that helps us out. We've got all of the battle commendation rewards now. That means we can't spend our new commendations on anything, and the game then converts your commendations into reputation instead, so that they're still used for something. This allows us to get the big pushes more frequently, the ones that trigger when you have 50 reputation. There you can see we've lost all of our commendations, but a push just went through, and they'll come through much faster now because we're still gaining battle commendations for fighting. We're at this late stage in the game where us just rampaging around killing low-level parties will be accelerating our faction's progress across the map, so we're certainly helping out. We do actually face a potential risk. Down here at Lumida itself, there's a large level 65 party hanging about. We need to make sure it doesn't fight us because I don't want to. The main issue is that it's a combat patrol, so if we hang around near it, it might just come over and fight us. I had this vague feeling though that it would be safe to be near this one. Since I'm not the only party on my side in the area, I've captured some territory off to the top left, and they've spawned a couple of parties, so combat patrols could be going after them. And as it turns out, they are, so I walk past them, kill some guys behind them. All those parties on the road are going off towards Dep Motter up there. That's fine, they will come back and kill me once they've defeated our allies in that area, because they just patrol the area around where they spawn, so if it's just me near the spawn point, they will come after me. We though have got some time to sort everything out right here. Refuge Lumida is high level, it is a challenge for us to take it, but there is another way, and we're going to do this the cheapest and easiest way. We capture this castle next to it, level it up, and then come over here with this party of level 70 something reinforcements to just completely stomp Refuge Lumida, and that's that. Easy peasy. We can spam out a few parties here to capture the area if we like. It's also a great place to get some late game equipment for ourselves. I can't afford that much because I've spent so much of my resources on party stuff and making our side strong, but we can grab a couple more master tier weapons to make sure we're nice and powerful. Then we're going to go for a walk. The next place to kill is the Lumidan Rebels capital, which is in the bottom right corner of the map. We're just going to walk across the bottom of the map to get there, nothing fancy. The AI does most of that journey for me, and we picked up a few points of interest on the way. Here we are then arriving at Lib TV. We've been here before, much earlier, and we're way high level than everything, so no issues. You can tell that I'm not actually playing the game at this stage because once we arrive, there's a delay which probably represents me realizing we've made it and looking up from my phone. Now that's a video game. You can do something else while you're playing it. Very considerate indeed. So Lib TV is captured. I spammed out a few parties here just to capture the area around it as well, for no particular reason. The only upside is that it allows us to hold this place more securely, but nothing's going to take it realistically. Just did it for my own amusement. We then went back to another blast from the past, Persal, where we started the game, popped back over here to capture it, not for any particular reason. I'm just taking this route to go towards the next victory region, which will be the top right-hand corner of the map. Here's us about halfway, traversing the empty part of the map where there's not much going on. There are some special points of interest and powerful things to find out here because it's so secluded. We don't really need them. We're just going to walk very slowly towards our destination and cause some trouble along the way, of course. We can capture random Yumba locations near their core and spam out some more allies for myself. There I was considering fighting some enemies, thought, nope, let's just spam a whole bunch of allies to do it for me. Now we are thinking. With the help from all this, we storm forwards and capture Dunra with no issues whatsoever. So that was that. This isn't quite the end though, because there's an extra victory region to take that I mentioned, the Elevator. This is a settlement just off to the right of the Yumba core. Looks like they're sending some powerful parties to try and stop my invasion, but they're not as powerful as me. So down they go right away. and we rampage through towards the elevator's little secluded area. It's defended by forest. It's a little bit hard to get in just because my allies were blocking the road a bit. You can see I ended up spamming a bunch of allied combat patrols that go into the elevator's enclosure and kill all of the enemies for me before I actually arrive. That's going to make this extra easy. We capture the elevator, and that completes the game effectively, but there is one more thing to do. Because we've gone through the most complete ending sequence, we now have a bonus battle. This is against the Earth Ring, so we've taken over the world, as the cutscene explains, of the world of this game. We can do whatever we want, but we also need to go up and reclaim the captured Yamba commander from earlier. So this leads to this fight. We're now in the Earth Ring, we've gone up the space elevator. They have some unique characters, these ancient guardians, and they are guaranteed to always be higher level than you in this battle. So if you just go in normally, you're going to be at a disadvantage, but we do have some things we can use to give ourselves the advantage, as you might already guess. As we learned in the last part, we can spam doses to become more powerful. And in this battle, we've actually started far enough away from the enemy that they're not aggroed. That means we can waste a bunch of turns, dosing up quite a lot. The enemy actually will aggro over time if you just stand around doing nothing, so you don't have unlimited time to do this. But it's bonus turns to sit here, dose people up, then give them another dose and dose them up with that as well. We also have 1 unit of God Juice, the ultimate dose item. I think you can get God Juice if you turn something like Refuge Lumida into an AML base. You get the highest possible tier of items for sale, and you can buy a very expensive item, God Juice. I'm going to give that to 2 phones right here to continue the tradition from the Medan Assault. We're going to have 2 phones be our legendary warrior. So we boost everybody up with some regular stims, but then the God Juice comes in, and when you use it, you get plus 30 to all of your stats. So 2 phones is effectively level 100 or more at this stage. He's going to be really powerful, and that's how we're going to win this battle. It's actually not going to be too hard, of course, as a result of this. There is one downside to this. Because we're on hard difficulty, the AI is just fleeing from 2 phones, making it hard for us to actually kill them. I'm going to withdraw most of my party and have this small team go to take out that guy on the right who 2 phones bypassed. But yes, 2 phones is scaring the enemy off. That's going to slow down the killing process. There is, though, an exploit of sorts that allows us to tempt the enemy into attacking 2 phones specifically, and it's by using this base. If I stand next to the base like this, the enemy will try to attack me. The reason is that the way the AI works is first it checks to see if there's a useful attack it can do. If it sees that there isn't, as with 2 phones, it then checks to see if it can capture a base, and it sees yes, there is a base that's exposed there to capture. So it starts moving towards 2 phones, well, moving towards the base that is, but accidentally moving towards 2 phones, ends up in range of 2 phones, and that triggers an attack action calculation that doesn't go through the usual checks to see if it's worth doing it, because it's happening at the end as like an emergency thing, the last thing the AI thinks about, whether there's something it can do after making a move that didn't achieve its objective. This allows the hard AI to make pointless suicide attacks against one of your characters if you're near a base. But there, because I moved 2 phones onto the base, they again go back to fleeing, so that's why it's important to just be near the base, vaguely within range to draw them in, and then they might accidentally get tricked into shooting you because of this sort of AI exploit that only works if you're near something they can capture. Now there's a Godless tactic right at the very end, a real deep exploit for you. There's not too much else to say about this one, since we simply use this tactic to gradually kill all the enemies that keep aggroing towards us. So here's some footage of me killing some enemies in this fashion. A couple are still running away because 2 phones is blocking an easy route for them to get to the base, so they're trying to go somewhere else instead. It's all working somehow under the hood, but it's not going to work in the end as the exploit gradually kills everybody. I did make a point of using my other characters to do some damage and grab the odd kill just since they were here, well, only a few of the other characters, just to make it slightly less exploity, but not really. The bulk of the work was done by 2 phones, the true hero of this campaign, and that's that. We defeated the Earth Ring with no casualties. This completes the game. We have now done it, and we've reached the final ending, where not only have we taken over the land now, we've taken over the Earth Ring as well. So we've recovered a whole bunch of the pre-apocalypse humans in the lore that are still chilling up here. They are mostly living in some sort of suspended reality. They don't really care about coming back because it's better up here or something, who knows. Well, a few of them might come back with us, but most importantly, we're going to team up with the old Dunra leadership to now rule the area in our glorious dictatorship of some kind, who knows. And there's some hints that we could use the space elevator to go up to the Earth ring and then go down different space elevators to reach other locations easily as well. Something like that. We're going to use all of the technology we've captured at the various key locations to remake the world. It's a happy ending of some kind. And we got to go to the beach, as we see there. We then see some post-campaign stats. Well, we didn't lose any battles or run away from any battles, very upfront about this, and we spent tons of money leveling up locations, over 1,000, well over 1,000, and that was how we won essentially. We just made our own faction very strong and then exploited that strength. We bought victory in many cases. This campaign win allows us to unlock the bonus AML class, and that only appears if you do that storyline route that we just did. This means you can use the Ancient Guardian class that the Earthring were using in a new campaign. You can also start the campaign in Lunatic mode by playing as AML Realms, so you're fighting everybody from turn 1. Plus there are tons of other modifiers you can activate here that will usually make the game harder in some way. So I was thinking of one day coming back to do some kind of maximum difficulty run through the game and see how that goes. While I was here, I decided to be cheeky and think, can we crash the game by loading the autosave that was just before the Earth Ring battle, because that's the sort of thing that would crash the game essentially. I just happened to know. Well, it looks like it actually takes you back to an autosave from before the battle before that one, so 2 battles back, and a crash is avoided. After that, I just started looking around the map. All of the locations have some lore attached to them, and I didn't really remember what half of it was, so I decided to check out some stuff and just see what's going on in general. There's all kinds of little bits of story that are told through the lore of the locations, and in some cases through the points of interest you can find in an area. This area is just south of the elevator. There's some stuff going on. I think it indicates that there used to be more civilization there, but Yumba might have sort of absorbed it and deconstructed it for their own projects later on, something like that. Sometimes even the design of the map itself is part of the local lore. While I was reading that, well, we get thrown back into the Earthring battle because our allies actually went and captured the elevator. You don't have to do it. As long as your side does it, victory is declared. This time I decided to find out what happens if you lose the Earthring battle. That's why I'm using cheats to kill all of my units. If you want to know the cheats, they're in a guide in the Steam community page somewhere, I think. So after everybody's dead, this actually didn't cause us to lose, annoyingly, but after they captured all of our bases, we then did lose. I just wondered, is there any kind of fail-safe? Does the game comment on the fact you couldn't complete the final challenge, but you've still kind of completed the game? Well, not really. You just get game overed. I thought there could be some sort of like sub-ending where it's not quite the perfect ending. No, you just suck if you can't win that one apparently, and it kicks you back to the main menu. Oh well. I wasn't done looking around, so I went back into the campaign and deleted a load of my allies to make sure we wouldn't win the campaign too quickly. Then I could go back to just looking around. There are all sorts of little Easter eggs and random references tucked away. Here's Taris, a reference to Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. It mentions in the lore that it has a motorbike racing track, which I believe is a reference to the swoop bike racing in that game, which sucks. So there you go, there's a reference. There's loads of those. I'm not sure how the lore was established for each town. Sometimes it's very practical, it's just talking about the town's role in the economy of the area. Sometimes it's completely random, like this. I don't know where this is coming from. This place is something about music festivals. It could have been based on something at the time it was developed. I don't know. Well, here's one that's a little bit more obvious actually. We've got Steamed Point and Fort Hams, a reference to the meme Steamed Hams, and if you don't know what that is, you're missing out big time. It's also in Meme Pass as another hint toward what's going on there. Well, there's a few places like that across the map I seem to remember. I did go through and look at them, but we won't talk about that here because you can go and do that for yourself. If you play this amazing game, you can experience the full depth of the lore. One other thing I did want to look at was settlements that are kind of towards the edge of the map and have roads going off the edge. I had this vague memory that some of them reference other places in the world to give you a little bit more lore. There are some references to American places somewhere on the west side of the map, and some of them reference other states that exist nearby but aren't really participating in the broader history of this area. So there's something going on, although not too much lore outside of the map itself. Still, there's plenty to discover, it seems. Well, I'll leave myself looking at the lore, and I'll leave you at the end of this series. A quick final part, since we essentially just auto-resolved our way to victory at the end. Nothing too difficult to deal with once we're powerful enough to do whatever we want. That's that, you just have to get to that point, using a few godless tactics along the way. Maybe you've learned a few by watching this series, or learned a little bit about this game as a whole. As mentioned, I might come back and play it another time, sometime. As for what series will replace this, I don't know, and I'm recording this in the middle of the massive UK heatwave. It's too hot to even think about playing a video game at my PC, so I don't even know what I can film. Something might come later, another commentary on something else, but it's not going to be as good as this game, so you might as well prepare yourself for disappointment. Thanks for watching.